Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradha Hari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradha Hari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradha Hari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradha Hari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradha Hari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihang Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihang Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Radha Kunj Vihari Radha Kunj Vihari Radhe Jaya Radha Madan Mohan Radha Madan Mohan Radhe Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe Jaya Radha Gopinata Radha Gopinata Radhe Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe Jaya Radha Ramana Radha Ramana Radhe Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Radhe Jaya Radhe Shyam Radhe Shyam Radhe Shyam Jaya Radhe Shyam Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Lakshmi Nrsinga Jaya Lakshmi Nrsinga Lakshmi Nrsinga Jaya Lakshmi Nrsinga Jaya Pralandra Singha, Pralandra Singha, Pralandra Singha, Jaya Pralandra Singha. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Om Vishnupad, Paramahamsa Parivari Jagachaya Shota Shata Shishimachila. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Jaya Om Vishnupad, Paramahamsa Parivari Jagachaya Shota Shata Shishimachila. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki. Ananta Kodi Vaishnavarinda ki. Prem Se Ko Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivajari Gaura Bhaktavrinda ki. Shri Radha Krishna Gopal Gopakavina Cham Kunda Radha Kundagiri Govardhana ki. Sri Vrindavan Dham ki, Mayapur Dham ki, Jagannathpuri Dham ki, Go Premanande Hari Hari Bol, Grantraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki, Lakshmi Nrisingadeva ki, Prahlad Maharaj ki, Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Garanga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Nastapaye Shabadesho Nitam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavata Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistike. Ete Chamsa Kalapumsam Krishnastu Bhagavan Sayam Indriyari Vyakalam Lokam Ridyante Yuge Yuge. Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranashanam Pranamaduka Samanastam Namami Harim Param. Nigama Kalpatarori Galitam Palam Sukamakadam Brita Divasambatam. Vibhata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Muhuro Rasigabu Vibhavukaha. Hare Krishna. So we are reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, 4th canto, 19th chapter. King Prithu's 100 horse sacrifices. Text number 33 and 34. So first I will read text 33, and there's no purport, and then together we will read text number 34. Naivatmane mahandraya roshamahatum arhasi ubhav api hibadramte uttamashloka vigraha. Lord Brahma continued, let there be good fortune to both of you. For you and King Indra are both part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore you should not be angry with Indra, with King Indra, who is not different from you. Text number 34. So I will recite and then you will recite. Masmin Maharaja Kritas Machintam. Masmin Maharaja Kritas Machintam. nishammayasmadvachat adritatma yadhyayato daivahatam nakatum manotirustam vishate tamondam masmin maharaja kritasma chintam nishamayasmadvacha adritatma yadhyayato daivahatam nukartum manotirustam vishate tamo andam masmin maharaja kritasma chintam nishamayasmadvacha adritatma yadhyayato daivahatam nukartum manotirustam vishato tamondam masmin maharaja kritasma chintam nishamayasmadvacha adritatma yadhyayato daivahatam nukartum manotirustam vishate tamondam masmin maharaja kritasma chintam nishamayasmadvacha adritatma yadhyayato daivahatam nakatum namo nivastam visate tamondam Masmid Maharaja Kritasma Chintam Yadhyayato Daivahatam Nakatum Manotirustam Visate Tamandam. Matajis? Masmin Maharaja Kritasma Chintam Nishamayasmad Vachadritatma Yadhyayato Daivahatam Nakatum Manotirustam Visato Tamonandam. Do not asmin in this Maharaja, O King, Krita, do, Sma, as done in the past, Chintam, agitation of the mind, Nishamaya. Please consider Asmat, my, Vacha, words, Adrita Atma, being very respectful, Yat, because, Dhyayata, of him who is contemplating, Daivahatam, that which is thwarted by providence. Nu, certainly, kartum, to do, mana, the mind, atirustam, very angry, vishate, enters, tama, darkness, andam, dense. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. My dear King, do not be agitated and anxious because your sacrifices have not been properly executed due to providential impediments. Kindly take my words with great respect. We should always remember that if something happens by providential arrangement, we should not be very sorry. The more we try to rectify such reversals, the more we enter into the darkest region of materialistic thought, purport. Sometimes the saintly or very religious people or person also has to meet with the reversals in life. Such incidents should be taken as providential. Although there may be sufficient cause for being unhappy, one should avoid counteracting such reversals. For the more we become implicated in rectifying such reversals, the more we enter into the darkest religion, the darkest regions of material anxiety. Lord Krishna has also advised us in this connection. We should tolerate these things instead of becoming agitated. Homa Yajna timirandasya Jnanandana sadakaya Jagasodan amritam yanam tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yodabadagamalan Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagar Jatam Sahagana Raganatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishagan Vidamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Datta Ganjana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Paditanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Nama Eva Kevalam Kulau Nastiva Gatiranyata Madaram Madhudebhyopi Mangalebhyopi Mangalam Pavanam Pavanebhyopi Hare Nama Eva Kevalam. So here Lord Brahma is speaking to Prithu Maharaj, and so he's blessing him, as in text 33. Badram te, may there be good fortune upon you. So when the saintly people or saintly devotees, sages are blessing, so then that will come true. Of course, provided the persons who are expecting the blessings, that they are properly performing spiritual activities. The saintly persons, they give blessings so that one can advance in spiritual life. And that so that one can, of course, then also, if one is advancing in spiritual life, depending on Krishna, then one will be able to live peacefully also in this world. Sisipalar Nishengaki. And so here Lord Brahma is blessing the king, but then also Indra. Although both of them, especially Lord Indra, was not right in trying to steal the sacrificial horse. But then Prithu Maharaj was becoming angry. So that was also not right on his part. And even wanting to kill Indra, a devotee. So that is not proper. But still, then Lord Brahma, he convinced him not to do. And then Prithu Maharaj understood, yes, that was actually not right. So then he repented also. And therefore, Lord Brahma, he wished well to Prithu and also to Indra. So that is the nature of the Supreme Lord and the pure devotees. They are very, very kind and very merciful. And usually they see the good fortune, gun. They see the good qualities of a person. They will not see the faults. Of course, sometimes the spiritual master, the father, he has to correct the disciple or the son. So in this sense, one has to see some fault also. Here, similarly, Lord Brahma, he saw that actually there was a fault here also from both sides. But because Lord Brahma saw his Prapitamaha, his grandfather, means of all the living entities here, is the secondary creator. So then, just like a father is merciful to a child and is excusing the faults of a child, even it is mentioned that the grandfather is even more merciful, because the father sometimes he has to chastise the child. Even Prabhupada mentioned. And the spiritual master has to chastise the disciple. But the grand spiritual master is always merciful. The grandfather is always merciful. The father is chastising the child is crying. He's going to the grandfather, and the grandfather will say, "No, my dear child, no problem, everything will be all right." You give him some toffee or something, some sweet, to make him happy. So the grandfather is practically never chastising the grandchild, but is always very merciful and kind, compassionate. So here similarly Lord Brahma, so it's known as Prapitamaha, grandfather. So for all the living entities here, and so is always ready to bless all the praja, all the living entities in this world, especially the human form of life. But then he's also correcting them when it is necessary, as in this case here. And so even the father, for example, when he's chastising, so he's chastising, even he's angry, he's slapping the child, but at the same time it is for the good of the child. And he has love for the child. And therefore he will still bless him. So Lord Brahma also, so small correction was needed here, but then he was blessing them. And again he told him, so good fortune unto you, and both of you, you are part and parcels of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, and both of them are actually empowered. A demigod is empowered, especially Lord Indra is a representative of the Lord. And also Maharaj, Prithu was empowered, also the representative of the Lord. And they are both servants of the Lord. So, therefore Brahma is mentioning here also that don't be angry at Indra. He is no different from you. He is also in a position, a respectful position. So you should respect each other. And then he's saying in the next verse, text 34, that you should not be agitated. You should not be anxious because you could not complete the 100 sacrifices due to some obstacles. Basically because Indra was taking the sacrificial horse. And of course there was a cause for agitation, but Lord Brahma said, don't be anxious. And already before he had told, and he is repeating again, just be peaceful. And kindly take my words with great respect. So one has to, even if one is maybe not completely agreeing in the beginning, but one should respect the elders, the spiritual master, the father. And we should try to follow the instruction given by the elders as much as possible. Of course, it doesn't mean we should be blindly following. No, we have to use our intelligence. Because sometimes the father may not be right. And then one may point it out in a humble way. And even we have seen, and it is mentioned in scripture, sometimes even the spiritual master, so he may deviate from the scriptures. And then that may also be pointed out. Although usually guru means is a great soul, a pure devotee of the Lord. But different levels of purity. So the eternal associates of the Lord who come in this world for the benefit of the conditioned souls, they are never at fault. Whatever they are doing is perfect and complete. However, those who are sadhakas, practicing devotees, and they may become pure in existence, or almost completely pure, and then they may act in the form of a spiritual master, Diksha Guru initiating spiritual master, or Shiksha Guru instructing spiritual master. Prabhupada has explained 3 kinds of spiritual master. On the pure devotee on the highest level, he has both feet in the spiritual world. He's always in the spiritual world, but he's coming here and giving instructions. And he's never becoming affected by the modes of material nature. Like the acharyas in our parampara. So, like Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, they're all Rupa Raghunath, they are associates of the Lord. They will not fall down. Or Narottam Das Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Prabhupada. So, but then there are others, because the preaching has to go on, and then many persons may be there to who want to advance in spiritual life and who see the necessity of taking initiation. So then Prabhupada is explaining the second kind of spiritual master. He has one leg in the spiritual world and one leg is still here. So he has realizations. So sometimes he's on the transcendental plane. But sometimes he's still here under the modes of material nature to some extent. So we may say the Uttamadikari, he has both feet in the spiritual world, the devotee on the highest level, the associate of the Lord. And then some, they may also act as spiritual master when they have followed their spiritual master, and they may almost be perfect. Madhyamadikari or higher level, even they may become Uttamadikari. So, even the Uttamadikari, Madhyamadikari and Kanishtadikari. It's not just one level. Like that is mentioned by the Acharyas. Like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is explaining 3 kinds of Uttamadikari. Muchit Kasai, Nidu Kasai, and Bhagavad Siddha Deha Prapt. So 3 kinds. The Kanishta Uttamadikari, Madhyamadikari, and Uttam Uttamadikari. So the beginning stage of a pure devotee, like Bharad Maharaj, he was in Bhavavasta. He was a great devotee. But then a slight discrepancy was there. As he had given up everything, the kingdom, his family, and went to the forest to attain perfection. He was already a great devotee. But still some slight impurities will be there. That is Muchik Kasai. Kasai means some impurities there. It is still there, very slight, almost dormant, and usually it will just go away also by continuously engaging devotional service. But then, so he was trying to help a small deer who lost his mother, who was chased by a tiger. And the mother deer was pregnant, jumped in the river to escape the tiger, but then she was just swept away by the water, but then she gave birth to the child in the water, and somehow the child came to almost to the shore, and then Bharad Maharaj rescued the small deer, but he could not help. The mother deer was swept away and then just must have died. So then he took care of the small deer. And he was doing his devotional service. And we know that small children, small animals, they look very cute. Like small puppies, dogs, small puppies are there, they look very cute. And similarly so. Small calf, so they look very cute, and small deer also very cute. So then he was doing his devotional service, but then the small deer was there, and he was looking what the deer is doing. The small deer was coming to him, licking his body, and then his attention went to the deer. Also, he was still doing his devotional service, but his attention was going to the deer. And then time of death came. Can come any moment. And instead of thinking of the Supreme Lord, he thought of the small deer. And as Krishna said, whenever one remembers at the time of death, that will give the result, and one will have a body accordingly. So he became a deer. But that is because he had still some slight compassion, attraction for the material thing. And so he became a deer. So that is pure devotee, but then he could remember, and therefore even as a deer he went to the saintly persons. And then he came Jar Bharat. So, and then the second kind of Uttam Adhikari, advanced devotee on the highest level, is Nidukashai. So there's practically the contamination is almost extinct, but still something little may be there, but he will usually not fall down. And the third is Bhagavad Siddha Deha Prapt. So he has realized his transcendental form as an eternal associate of the Lord, and he will never fall down, and is purified in existence, and then he will enter into the pastimes of the Lord. Similarly, there is a Madhyamadikari, who is on the beginning level, and then on the intermediate level, and then on the higher level. So Uttam Madhyam, the intermediate devotee who is on the higher level, then he can come to the highest level of spiritual understanding. So that we have to understand. So, but then Prabhupada is explaining, and the third kind of spiritual master, he has both feet in this world, so he's still under most of material nature, but he has some realization, he has heard from his spiritual master, and therefore he's repeating. And he can help a little bit, but not much. So he may be Madhyamadikari, but on the beginning stage of Madhyamadikari, intermediate devotee, but not so advanced. And one who has one foot in the spiritual world and one foot here, so he's a Madhyamadikari on the higher level, just about to reach the highest level of pure devotional service, Uttam Bhakti. So, but the one who has both feet in the spiritual world is an eternal associate of the Lord coming from the spiritual world, or he has attained perfection by following his spiritual master, and then, so he has realized his Swarup Siddhi, and then he will also not fall down. So, and we have seen in history, in ISKCON and even before, that sometimes due to circumstances one may not be able to remain in the position, unfortunately, but still one has to always continue with devotional service. So Prithu Maharaj, a great king, so empowered by the Lord, but here a little mistake was there. So he had to be corrected. And so Lord Brahma, it took some time to convince him, and therefore he repeated himself also. Be peaceful, don't try to kill him, don't be anxious, and whatever is happening is due to providence. So these things happening in this material world. Difficulties are coming, even to the pure devotees. Difficulties are coming. That is the nature of this material world. But then one has to tolerate. And he's saying, so if you are not tolerating, so he's explaining then that the more we try to rectify such reversals, the more we enter the darkest region of materialistic thought. So we should accept it as the will of providence or the will of the Lord. So the devotee has to depend on the Lord, and whatever is happening, he should see it as the mercy of the Lord and not feel sorry for some things which are happening, which are not so auspicious. Ishwaram karoti, shobhanam eva karoti. That is a Sanskrit line, one line, so which is famous. Ishwaram karoti. Whatever the Lord does, shobhanam eva karoti. That is certainly shubh, that is auspicious. Whatever he does. So one time there was a king and he had his advisor. Usually the kings, they always had their advisors. A small king had one advisor. A big king, he has many advisors. 5, 7, 9, 11. Uneven number usually. Because sometimes he has to ask his advisor, so in this situation, what shall I do? And then he's asking the advisors. And everyone has to vote and say what is their opinion. If there are 4 advisors, then it may be 2-2. Then what to do? So better to have uneven numbers. So they had always uneven numbers. So that is well known in Bharatvarsha in India. The kings, they had advisors always, who were Brahmanically inclined, who were devotees. So even there was one Muslim king who in India who became very powerful. His name was Akbar. And he had 9 advisors. And he was very intelligent, and he had respect for the culture of India, the Vedic culture. So one of his wife actually married one Indian from India, one queen. And so then he had a few Indian advisors, and of course he had his Muslim advisors. And so 2 of them were very famous, and they gave him always good advice. And there are many stories in regards to them, of them giving good advice. One was Tansing and one was Balbir, or Birbal. So they were devotees of the Lord, and they gave good advice. And he listened to them because he saw their advice was very good. And there are many stories in this connection. So anyhow, so there's one king, he had one advisor. And so he was always saying when something happened, Ishwaram yat karoti, shobham karoti. Whatever the Lord does, that is auspicious. Many times you hear that. There's some saintly persons. Sometimes what they say also, Bhagwan ki kripa se, Ram ki kripa se. By the mercy of Ram, by the mercy of the Lord, things are happening. It's always depending on the Lord. And everything is the Lord's mercy. So, one time, the king, so with his word, he was singing, if this word was sharp, he cut his finger, the thumb. And the advisor was saying, Ishwaram karoti, shobham eva karoti. Whatever the Lord does, that is auspicious. He became angry. What is auspicious? I lost my thumb. But still, it is the Lord's will, and it is a purpose. Okay, we'll see. I put you in the prison. He put his advisor in the prison. And then as he's going to the prison, the advisor is saying, Ishwaram karoti, shobham eva karoti. Whatever the Lord does, that is auspicious, that is good for me. And he was in the jail, and he was just doing his service and studying his scriptures, chanting the Lord's holy names. And then he told the king, I will show him a lesson, how this is the Lord's mercy. Now he's in jail. And then anyhow, then he went for hunting, like sometimes the king have to do. And he had just one servant who was accompanying him. But the advisor was not there. He didn't go with him. But then somehow the servant was not able to be with the king, and he was kept behind. And so the king went alone, ultimately. And as he was going, riding on a horse in the forest with bow and arrow, there are some dacoits there. And they are worshippers of Kali, the goddess Kali. And sometimes they are offering some animal as sacrifice. And sometimes they are offering a human being as a sacrifice. So they caught the king, and they didn't care that he's a king. They thought, yeah, he's a king, great, a nice offering to Kali. And he was just trying to defend himself with his sword he had also. But he was not successful. There were 4 or 5. They overpowered him. And then, usually before offering to Goddess Kali, like we offer something to the deities, of course, fruits and cooked items. But if we offer fruits, also first we wash, or dry fruits and nuts we wash, and then we offer. So before offering to Kali, the system is they have to wash the animal also with water. So they wanted to give him a bath to the king. So they took out his cloth, wanted to give him a gamsha. And then they saw one finger is missing. And then they said, well, this person we cannot offer because one finger is missing. Kali will not accept. So you can go. And they were disappointed. And the king was relieved. Hoi hoi, I'm saved. And then he remembered, Ishwaram karoti, shobham eva karoti. Whatever the Lord does, that is for the benefit of oneself. So I lost my finger, but my life was saved. If I didn't lose my finger, and they would have offered me to Kali, I would have lost my life. So I only lost my finger, so he was relieved. But then he went back and he was thinking, well, now we'll ask my advisor, so so now you're in the prison, how it is the Lord's mercy? And then, of course, everyone also came to know that he was caught by the dacoits, but then they didn't offer to Kali because the finger was not there, the thumb was not there. The word spread. So then he asked the advisor, so I got saved because my finger was cut. And then the king was saying, but how it is your good fortune that I put you in jail? And I looked, I know only out if you can tell me the good reason. I said, very simple. If you would not have put me in jail, then as you were hunting, I would have come with you to the forest, and then the dacoits would have captured both of us. They would have let you go because your finger was not there, but my body is fine and okay. They would have offered me to Kali. And then he realized, yes, it is right. What are you saying? Whatever the Lord does, that is the mercy of the Lord. So here in this sense, Lord Brahma was saying that whatever is happening, that is by the will of the Lord, and we should not feel sorry. You could not do the 100 sacrifices, but 99, and still you will be glorified, because you are engaged in devotional service, because you are following the advice of myself and the Supreme Lord, and therefore you will become famous. Otherwise, you will have so many difficulties if you try to still do one more sacrifice. Then just for name, fame and glory, that would not be good. And then you will be simply involved in material thought. And then it is explained, you will enter in the darkest region of material thought. So tama. But we should give up the darkness. Tamasima jyotirgamayaha. We should give up darkness and go to the light. That is the spiritual life in service to the Supreme Lord. So sometimes there's a need to again and again repeat something, or in order to convince somebody and make sure that they will follow. So here also Brahma, he emphasized by speaking 2-3 times that don't feel sorry and don't be agitated. It is the will of providence. It is better you don't do the sacrifice and just engage in devotional service, and then you will be blessed. And so he blessed him, and then he actually became very famous, more famous than Lord Indra. Is very much respected, Prithu Maharaj. Whereas Indra, people have less respect for Indra because sometimes he's doing something wrong. Especially, as in this case, that was not right and is disturbing saintly persons many times. So Prabhupada is writing, so we should tolerate things instead of becoming agitated. Therefore, Mahaprabhu, he gave many instructions, but only he wrote 8 verses, known as Shikshashtakam, which we should try to follow this Shikshashtakam. And the third one, which everyone knows, and is recited here every day also, Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna amanina amaranena kirtaniya sadahari. So because difficulties will always be there in this life, in the material world. It is not a permanent place, and it is full of miseries. And so therefore we have to tolerate. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita also, matras pasastu santeya, matras pasastu kanteya, situshna sukha dukkadaha, agama penityas tam stitikshasva bharata, titikshasva. So we should be tolerant, we should tolerate the difficulties which are there. And just like the seasons are there, summer season is maybe hot, of course here is not too hot, but if you go to Vrindavan, 45, 46, 47 degrees in the shade. It's hot. First time I went to India, it was in May, hottest time. I came out of the plane, I thought I'm in the sauna. hot all the time, morning, evening time. So during the day, 46, 47 degree in the shade. In the sun we cannot walk. You need an umbrella at least. But still, even if you have an umbrella, you feel hot, and if you're too long outside, you can get a heat stroke. And nighttime, 32, 33 degrees, nighttime. So you're sweating all the time, and there's no relief. Unless you're in a room, AC room or air cooler room. Fan is also almost useless, because it's blowing hot air. So when you are young, I was just 20 years old when I first came, 45 years ago to India. Somehow tolerate it. But when you get older, it's not getting easier. And now we come to the West to escape the summer. And in the winter it's very cold there. And there's no proper heating system like here. Even in the winter, you close the window, we have central heating. It's okay. But there, the doors and the windows, they are not very tightly fitted. And the air is still going through, there's no central heating, so it's cold, it's freezing. Sometimes 2-3 degrees at night time, and during the day 10 degrees, 8 or 10 degrees. Very cold. But you have to tolerate. No choice. If you're not tolerating, then you're suffering actually. So better to tolerate, and still it is difficult, there is some suffering, but you have to tolerate and try to remember Krishna, or chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And actually always in the winter, in the daytime the sun is there, so it's 10 degrees, maybe 12 degrees, and we really relish the sun, and we're looking forward for the springtime when it is pleasant, not too hot and not too cold. And the sun is known as, different name for the sun in Sanskrit, Surya, Bhaskar, Aditya, Ravi, Mitra. Mitra means friend. He's our friend in the winter. In the summer when it's too hot, I mean, we don't want to see him too much. We're not too close, not going outside too much. He's still our friend, but we stay at home in the summer when it's too hot in India. So, but we have to tolerate, and we have to go on with our devotional service. And we have to adjust somehow, make some adjustment. Like when I first came, so there was no AC, there was no air cooler in the summer. Sometimes no electricity in Vrindavan for many hours. Then what we used to do, we just used to have a bucket of water and put the cloth inside at night time and sleep on the roof of the building and put the wet cloth on the body. And then a little breeze, although it is warm, but because the cloth is wet, you put on your body, you feel a little bit refreshed. Somehow we had to adjust in this way. So and then in this way, when you're adjusting and then you're doing your devotional service, then you can be somewhat peaceful. And then you can go on, and then you get realization. You become detached from the body, and you feel transcendental pleasure. And then you can more easily tolerate the difficulties. So the more you attach to Krishna, you become detached from this world. And then it is easier to tolerate the difficulties which are there. So, therefore we have to take this verse to heart, to Inada Pisunichena. So difficulties due to one's own body and mind, difficulties due to other persons, and then difficulties due to natural calamities or extreme situations of nature. So whatever the difficulties are there, so we have to tolerate. And Sambandha Gyan, with knowledge we should perform our devotional service. I'm not this body, I'm spirit soul. And then you tolerate. And you chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And then the difficulties, so they are coming actually and going. They're coming and going, like the seasons. They're coming and going. Winter season, then spring season you get a little relief. But even in Vrindavan also the spring season is very short. Usually it's cold. Then for maybe 2-3 weeks there is a little okay and then it gets hot. Again you have to tolerate. But then rainy season is there, you get some relief. For 2 months. But even Vrindavan, this year and last year was more rain than usual. Even now already it's raining early. So Vrindavan is the most wonderful place, but at the same time it is also sometimes very austere. Tapubhumi. Austere place. And after the rainy season, in India there are 6 seasons, in the West only 4 seasons. Winter, spring, summer, autumn. 4 seasons. In India there are 6. Winter, spring, which is nice weather for a little while, then summer, and then rainy season. And then it is known as Sharad Ritu. There's no rain. After the rain it gets again a little warm. Sometimes quite hot also. Like up to, not as hot as the summer, but still 36, 38 degrees, sometimes 40 degrees. Therefore sometimes you call it second summer. And then comes autumn, which is also again pleasant. And then winter. So we have to tolerate and the difficulties which are there. And then by chanting the holy names, which is the Yuga Dharma, then we can advance in our spiritual life. And we get transcendental bliss. So we have to try to be very tolerant and not expect any honor. And we have to give honor to others. And we have to be humble, respectful. But trying to be constantly engaged in chanting the holy names, engaged in devotional service, spiritual activities, hearing about Krishna, speaking about Krishna, worshipping the deities. So we have to be engaged. And then we can tolerate the difficulties. And even if there's some agitation due to some difficulty, we just have to tolerate and continue. And that will go away. If we take shelter of Guru Garanga Krishna. So we have to always take shelter of Guru Garanga Krishna. By praying to them, calling out to them in difficulty, like Draupadi. Usually we don't ask anything from Krishna. But then in difficult situation we may call out to Krishna. And that is accepted. There's one verse, Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karamanavritam anukulina Krishna nushilinam bhaktiruttamam. You should act according to this verse. Engage in favorable devotional service and trying to serve Krishna as he wants, Anushilanam, Krishna Anushilanam. And Anyabhilashita shunyam. We should have no other desire, only the desire should be to please Krishna. Jnana and karma, we should not be enthusiastic to get knowledge, to be then recognized as a great devotee. We need some knowledge, but to be properly situated. And then we have to engage in devotional service, but we should not karma, have the mentality, I do something to get something in return. We do everything for Krishna's pleasure. So this verse, Anyabhilashita, Ashita, Anya Abhilash. We should have no desire except wanting to serve Krishna. But here the ta is mentioned, Anyabhilashita. That is according to Sanskrit. There was a need to insert the ta to make the verse complete. But then there's also an indication is there, and Vishnunath Chakravarti Thakur has explained. We should have no desire, but there's some exception. So if one is in great difficulty, although usually we don't pray to Krishna, save me. We know Krishna will save me, we don't have to worry. But still sometimes the danger is there, like Draupadi. When Yudhishthira was challenged by Duryodhana for playing a game of dice. And he was not so expert. And Duryodhana said, in my place, my uncle will play. So he was expert in playing dice and he was a cheater. So they were playing and Yudhishthira lost. Gold, his ornaments, and then the kingdom. He lost himself, he lost his brothers, he lost Draupadi. And Duryodhana, everything is mine now. The Pandavas are my servants. Now he told his brother Dushasan, you bring Draupadi here in the assembly. And the great warriors were there also, Duryodhana, the spiritual masters of Duryodhana and the Pandavas, Dronacharya, Kripacharya, Bhishmadev. But they were all obliged to follow Duryodhana. So Draupadi, she was in her menstrual period. So usually when the lady is in the menstrual period, she's not supposed to go to the temple, she's not supposed to go in an assembly of exalted personalities, not supposed to see even the spiritual master. She should mainly stay at home and take care of herself, relax and chant Hare Krishna and be happy all this difficult time. So for 3 days. So because some contamination is there for the ladies when they have the menstrual period. And then usually they are not complete, of course they are dressed, but the hair might be open also and not much jewelry. So she was in that situation. So Dushasan said, you have to come with me. Duryodhana is calling you. You're now the maidservant of Duryodhana. Yudhishthira lost the game of dice. And she said, but I'm in my contaminated period. I cannot go in front of the assembly of the elders. No, you have to come. So he grabbed her. And she was of course trying to resist, but the man is usually stronger than the ladies physically. So he brought her there, and then Duryodhana said, you take her sari off. And then of course Arjuna and Bhim, they became angry, and they stood up and they were ready to take out the sword and fight. But then Yudhishthira, no, it is not our position. We lost everything, and we cannot fight here. And they were so angry, but they could do nothing, because they were following Yudhishthira. They didn't agree with him, but they had to follow. They had so much respect. And then she was then trying to hold her sari, and he was pulling the sari, and then she could, of course, not hold it. It was more strong. And then she called out, Govinda, Damodar, Madhav, calling out to Krishna. And Krishna then came, and he supplied cloth. And he was pulling the cloth. Miracle. So in a helpless situation, one can call out to Krishna. And still it is considered pure devotional service. So Krishna will always help his devotees. He will protect his devotees. But for this we have to follow the instructions of the spiritual master. We have to follow the instructions of the scriptures. And we have to be humble, tolerant and respectful. But again, so we have to see, we have to use our intelligence also, that is there. But then we pray. So we have to pray, we have to call out to Krishna, sometimes crying. Prabhupada said, also while chanting the holy names, we should call out to Radharani. Cry out, please Radharani, engage me in the service of Krishna. Please let me remember Krishna. So we have to call out, crying. Bhakti yoga dan. Bhakti Krishna nam smarane krandana. Bhakti yoga, the wealth of bhakti yoga is there. But how is it, what we have to do? We chant the holy names and then krandana, crying. Crying you may be without tear, but if you are really desperate, then some tears may come. Oh Krishna, so difficult. And then you call out and we cry. And then we will get the help from Guru Gauranga Krishna, and then we can advance. So we should always respect the elders, as the king was doing here, and and follow their instructions, and then so we take shelter of Guru Gauranga Krishna. So there's one nice verse which I like to always share, which is famous amongst the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. Is small verse, offering obeisances to Guru, Gauranga, Radharani, Krishna, Krishna's devotees. So you can repeat after me with folded hands. Gurave, Gaura Chandraya, Radhikayai, Tadalaye, Krishnaya, Krishna Bhaktaya, Tad Bhaktaya, Namo Namaha. So I offer my obeisances to Guru, to Gauranga, Srimati Radharani, her associates, Krishna, Krishna's devotees, and all devotees. Beautiful verse. So that we may recite if we have to, when we feel we need to take shelter of Guru Gauranga. Or for example, first thing, what is the first thing you do in the morning? Govinda Dev. Paying obeisances to whom? To Guru. That's all? Right, okay, good. Yeah. So how we offer obeisances to Guru? You chant his mantra or? Pranam mantra, okay. So yeah, fine, yeah. If you want a shortcut, if you're in a hurry, then you can just chant Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. Everyone is included. Or for example, if you have to go to, of course, to the altar, then you have to chant many mantras. Or if you go to the kitchen, cooking for the ladies also, then we should take shelter of Guru, Gauranga and Krishna also, and especially Radharani, because she's cooking for Krishna. Of course, for Nrsingadev, Lakshmi will cook. So, and Lakshmi is an expansion of Radharani. So, but we have to remember Guru, Gauranga, and then, so that may be chanted. Or usually I tell the children, if you want to have good marks in the school, so before the exam, you recite this verse. Or when you do your studies. So, or sometimes we are asked to speak for 2 minutes somewhere, and then we can recite this mantra. We cannot chant so many mantras. So that is a good verse to learn. At least I find that verse very helpful and very sweet and nice. Hare Krishna. We stop here. Any question? Yes. Hare Krishna.
One question regarding the 3 kinds of spiritual masters.
Yes.
I lost it a little bit.
Yes.
In the beginning, there's one who has 2 feet in the spiritual world.
Yes.
And one who has 1 in the spiritual world and 1 in the material world.
Yes.
And who's the third?
The third one, he has both feet in the material world. But he can see the spiritual world, but he's not there. That is the third one. Because he has heard also from his spiritual master about the spiritual world, but he's not there. But he has heard, and so he knows something, he has some realization, but not enough yet. But sometimes there may also be spiritual master. So that is a Madhyamadikari who may not be so advanced. But then that Prabhupada is writing actually in the Nectar of Instruction, in one of the purports. 3 kinds of devotees are there. Uttam, Madhyam and Kanishta. And then he's writing one should take shelter of the spiritual master who should be a Uttamadikari. Because the others, they may not give so much guidance, able to give so much guidance. So, but of course Uttamadikari is rare. But then you may have to take shelter of Madhyamadikari, but still. In the beginning, where are we? We are nowhere. So even if Guru is Madhyamadikari on a higher level, then we can advance. But we should always think that the spiritual master is pure. But in reality, we can see that sometimes they may not be on the highest level. As we can see in our society, even other societies, sometimes we have seen that the spiritual master was not able to remain in that position due to some circumstances. Maybe having too many disciples, that's why it is mentioned, Nectar of Devotion, the Guru Should not have too many disciples. That refers to the Guru who is not a pure devotee, who is not an eternal associate of the Lord. Because if we have many disciples, then he may have to get the reaction to some extent of the disciple who may not be able to follow nicely. And then that may cause him some difficulty also. Prabhupada, many times after initiation ceremony, he got sick. Because he's accepting the disciple, then he has to accept one part, it is mentioned 1/6 of the sinful reaction of the disciple. So if he's a pure devotee, so it's easier to handle, but still he will get some result, and many times in the form of some sickness. But if one is not so exalted, then he will have to struggle to some extent. And sometimes he may then deviate if he is accepting unqualified disciples. That is the situation. So therefore, yes, so of course we have to call out to Mahaprabhu and Krishna to always help us also. But the spiritual master is there, and so he will help. So, but different degrees of spiritual master that it is mentioned in the scriptures, Prabhupada has mentioned. Okay? Yes.
And just the verse you said, if you have a reference so we can find
The reference? Yeah, you can see on Google. It should be there. Otherwise I can recite again. And all of you have mobile. You can record. Because in the Kali Yuga it's difficult to remember, right? But before they used to hear one time and they used to remember. But now difficult. But I'll recite again. Line by line, and then you can repeat. And you can record, and then Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. Okay, Hare Krishna. Yes.
what does this word Tadalaye mean?
Tad alaye. Tad refers to Srimati Radharani. So Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikayai. That means, so that is in dative case. Radhika, her name is Radhikat. Radhikayai means unto Radharani, and then Tad alaye. Tad refers to Srimati Radharani. Alaye means abode. Alai. Just like in India you say Bhojanalai, the place where you eat, the room where you eat, that is known as Bhojanalai. The place where you go to pass water is Sauchalai. And the place where Manu was living, that was Manulai. Or so, Mantralai, where the minister is staying. And Tadalaya means the abode of Srimati Radharani, where she stays, her house in Varshana. Okay? All right. I think everything else is clear. So Krishnaya, Krishna Bhaktaya, we offer obeisance to Krishna. Krishna's devotees and all the devotees. Means you may be devotee of Ramchandra, may be devotee of Vishnu. We should respect all the servants of the Lord. So we should be broad-minded and respectful towards all. Okay? Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki, Sisi Lakshmi Nrsimhadev ki, Prahlad Maharaj ki, Panchatattva ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Go Premanande Hari Hari Bol, Jai Jai Sisi Radhe Shyam. Hare Krishna.
Schreibt das noch heute. Schreibt das heute, ja.